You want to know the biggest conspiracy theory of all time that is 100% true? Backmasking. So backmasking is where you play a song backwards and it has a hidden message in it. So what if I told you there were some very, very famous songs, if not the most famous songs in history, that have secret hidden messages that are placed in these songs by Satanists? Okay. Before you scroll and you think I'm crazy, I can prove it. I can prove it over and over and over and over, okay? So I know when you start diving in kind of deep into this stuff, people think you're crazy, but hear me out. Just let me read. So there was this woman who was a high priestess witch in a coven, and she was a Satanist. She worshiped Satan. Obviously, that's what a Satanist is. And she ended up moving so fast up in the ranks because at birth, she was not supposed to make it. And her mother gave her blood to a witch in a coven to save her life. And they whispered incantations over the blood. And from that child's life, then on out, demons had free control of this child's life. She grows up, she becomes like the most powerful witch in the United States, and actually ends up becoming one of the very few brides of Satan. There's a couple at all times, but at the time in the region that she was in, she was the most favorited bride of Satan. So she talked about meeting multiple artists like rock and roll singers and different things like that. Now hold on before you're like, rock and roll, that's not what I'm saying. That's what I'm going to get to, but not in a bad way. So she said that she had met a lot of these people who sold their soul to the devil literally in order to gain fame and money, okay? And that she had went into recording studios with other coven members to perform special ceremonies where they would place satanic blessings on the recordings, okay? It would in turn give this artist like tons of like, #1 hits, money coming out the butt, like a lot of stuff for them. So they were happy. But one of the incantations that they did was they would like pray over every single record that would go out, and it would have like, they would pray this very certain demon over it, okay? But we're going to talk about the other one. Then they would pray that, or they would call upon these demons to attach themselves to every single track that was on these records. And the reason I'm talking about this today is I want to talk about the incantations and the demonic stuff that can be heard throughout a lot of these songs. Which I know you're probably sitting here like, I'm pretty sure if I would have heard a demon, I would know. No. They're tricky, okay? Because I am someone, my dad was, and Andy especially, we are music people. Like, I can tell you how I feel much, much better through a song than I can words. I'm going to play you a few examples, but then we're going to really kind of stay heavy on one. That is terrifying. Okay, and it doesn't help, like, obviously in the video it's even scarier the way she's saying it, but she's been very controversial with certain videos. She's like a fallen angel in one video. That one is scary, but still, let me show you this one. honestly, that is terrifying. A lot of these songs end up having these incantations woven into them by the blessing, okay, by like these people coming in and doing this. So this is not something that I'm making up. There's like multiple like witnesses to things like this happening. But that song in particular has always given me chills. And I don't know if you saw the top of the recording, the screen recording, that was Stairway to Heaven by Led Zeppelin. So let's just take a step back. Okay, if you don't know who Led Zeppelin is, I don't know where you've been, but Led Zeppelin is one of the biggest bands of all time. It was John Paul Jones, John Bonham, Robert Plant, Jimmy Page, okay? So these are the members of Led Zeppelin. So Robert Plant, let's talk about him. So where did they get the idea of Stairway to Heaven? This is very much so probably one of the most famous songs of all time. Like, it's a huge song, right? Now, how did he write it? Like, where did that come from, the inspiration? Let me just read you what Robert Plant said himself, okay? I was holding a pencil and paper, and for some reason, I was in a very bad mood, and then all of a sudden, my hand was writing out the words. He did not write the song, okay? Something wrote the song for him. There's also a place where he talks about he was like really high or something, and he like passed out, and when he came to, the rest of the song was written. So a lot of listeners thought that the devil wrote this song, and there was some things supporting this theory. So Jimmy Page, one of the band members, he lived in Aleister Crowley's house, and this was in Scotland, and it was called the Boleskine House. And in Aleister Crowley's books, he was a big advocate that his followers learn how to read and speak backwards. So then there's this message in the song that's backwards. But Plant later denies that this had anything to do with it, that he did not put this in the song and blah, 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 blah. But you don't accidentally put something that direct in a song. Do you know what I'm saying? So, but let's just like look at some of the lyrics read forward, okay? So it says, "'Cause you know sometimes words have two meanings. In a tree by the brook, there's a songbird who sings. Sometimes all of our thoughts are misgiven." And then it goes down and says, "There's a feeling I get when I look to the west, and my spirit is crying for leaving." Now, this part specifically, like in medieval times and just like way back when, the west was kind of like how they would talk about hell, and the east is when they would kind of talk about heaven. And that's why I was talking about in a previous podcast, it's a Christian tradition to be buried facing the east, and when you are buried facing the west, it was kind of like a knock, okay? And then go down further, the last verse says, as we wind down the road, our shadows taller than our soul, there's a lady we all know who shines white light and wants to show how everything still turns to gold. And if you listen very hard, the tune will come to you at last. When all are one and one is all, yeah, to be the rock and not the roll. He's literally telling you, listen very closely and the tune will come to you at last. So have I convinced you? Do you believe in backmasking? Do you think that there are Satanists and witches who can put incantations in songs? Do you think celebrities, like them high top-ranking celebrities who win all of the awards, do you think that they sold their soul to the devil? This gets very Illuminati-ish. That is a whole nother video. But seriously, think about the songs that make it like the number one songs. Then go listen to them backwards. See what's in them. And I promise you, it is not just, well, you can't trust YouTube. Okay, my dad had Stairway to Heaven like on a thing and played it backwards, like played it forwards, normal, played it backwards, and it says, "Here's to my sweet Satan." So this is not just somebody doctoring something on YouTube. This is scary and this is real.